End of the program. Happy to welcome in here tonight for 1 hour on the program as we explore everything college, tournament, season, and the rather bizarre and outlandish courts that we're seeing here throughout the course of the day. Now, Ben, have you ever played in the Southland Conference tournament?
I have not, but I had the pleasure of calling the Fun Belt on ESPN Plus once.
Oh, the Fun Belt, right. You got to know your Sun Belt. Nice. That is a long tournament, too, if I recall correctly.
They changed the format where it's like 10 rounds. It's like a boxing fight. It's insane.
You get a game, and you get a game, and you get a game, and you get a game. Marquette gets a game tomorrow against Xavier, bubble team. Kind of a dangerous game for Marquette, who's been fading a little bit here. Wisconsin Badgers will take on Northwestern.
Bubble team.
Northwestern. Xavier?
Oh, I thought you were saying
Xavier's a bubble team.
Yes.
In other words, a desperate team.
Very talented.
Talented.
Not a team you want to play
desperate.
After you're not playing well.
Bubble. Marquette fading a little bit. They're in the tournament, but they got some work to do to try and grow their seeding. Badgers, of course, expected to tip off about 1:30 tomorrow as well against Northwestern. All right, I've got a game for us to play here. You guys excited to play?
I love games.
Big game guy.
Big game guy.
Big
Joshy,
board
are you,
game guy, big game guy, big everything guy.
Now, Joshy, are you really excited, or are you just sort of fake excited?
I'm entertaining you.
Okay.
I'm being a good co-host.
So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take different groupings of teams and see if we can extract one team out of that mix that we think has a realistic chance to make it to the Final Four, okay? This is not a cut the nets down discussion. That we can save for a little bit later because there's a few teams that I think fit into that mix. But this is, let's look at the marquee teams. Let's pick the team we like the best out of that group. Then, let's pick a team with a betting line of plus 200 through plus 400 to make it to the Final Four. We'll then increase those opportunities. Plus 600 to plus 1,100, and then a random long shot. Can we kind of create a fun Final Four out of this groupings of teams?
I can do my best, as I always do.
Okay, all right, good enough. Well, let's start with a layup here. Joshy, Ben, start with the teams that have the best overall odds at going to the Final Four, reaching the Final Four. If you look at the numbers here at Potawatomi Sportsbook, it lays out like this. Two teams are plus money to reach the Final Four. Duke at minus 167. You're going to have to lay some more coin if you want to get that 100 back. And Auburn at minus 155. You might be able to find some value in Houston at plus 150, Florida at 150, plus 150. Out of those four teams, is there one, Joshy, that you look at and say, that's the team, that's the one I'm picking pretty clearly?
I'm probably going to fade both of the presumptive favorites, both Duke and Auburn. I know that might be a fool's errand, but laying minus money in a tournament that is as wacky as it is just doesn't feel right. And I know it's just Final Four, it's not national championship, but I would look at a team like Florida at plus 150 as one I was looking forward to make it to the Final Four. There's so much here where chaos ensues, and it feels like, and Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, this is one of the more balanced tournaments we can really remember. It feels like there are more teams this year than years past where you could make a solid case for them winning it all and making the Final Four.
Not winning it all, but making the Final Four.
Yeah.
Because I really do believe that of those four teams, like I'm going Auburn. I'm sticking with, like, it's chalk, but it's chalk for a reason.
Right.
Very rarely do you get at this time and get any team that you have to lay money in order for them to make the Final Four. Like I'm staying true to my word. I'm fading Duke from the standpoint of the ACC stinks. They haven't been challenged. When they were challenged early in the season, Cooper Flagg fell twice and traveled and turned it over. Auburn is in the toughest conference of all of college basketball, and they performed the best of all teams in all of college basketball. Give me Auburn of those four teams, but my next best choice would be Florida, which Joshy has.
So Auburn took a little bit of a hit here in the numbers after a loss to Alabama. To me, there's nothing bad about that loss. It's a top 5 team, kind of a schizophrenic team. They're a little wild, a little all over the place, hard to stop, can't stop anybody, turnover fest. I am not pro-Bama for making the Final Four, but I understand how it's really not looked at as a significant negative for Auburn's Final Four hopes. Now, if you want to talk to people who live in that area of the country, well, perhaps it was a devastating loss because of the rivalry nature. But I, like you, Ben, I lean Auburn. I just think from start to finish this year, they have been the most consistent team, good veteran blend, player of the year candidate, and a coach who has been there before. So I am riding Auburn out of this group. You are riding Auburn out of this group. Joshy, you're leaning Florida out of this group. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, that is the one team we have selected out of this first grouping, the elites, if you will. Now I want to look ahead and see if we can pick one team whose current odds rest between plus 200 to plus 400 to reach the Final Four. Again, not win it all, but reach the Final Four. So in this cluster of teams, I have Alabama at plus 200, Tennessee at plus 300, Iowa State at plus 400, St. John's at plus 400, and Michigan State at plus 400. You can only pick one, Joshy. Who are you leaning with out of this group?
I like Iowa State. I'm in between Iowa State and Tennessee. I'd be interested to see where Ben goes on this one, but I think Iowa State's been a good team. I start losing confidence at this point in making really any provocative claim. Obviously, the numbers
We're playing
here,
a game, Josh.
between 200 and 400 feels like a bigger gap than I'd like it to be, but I'm going to go Iowa State.
Josh, you are correct again. Alabama, don't want to touch them, can't guard a soul, made it to the Final Four last year. Don't think they can play the same way that they play in terms of style and go back-to-back. Like, they're just... it's a team I don't trust. Tennessee is the best defensive team in the country, but they continuously are in tight games, and if you want to sweat, go ahead, do it. I don't want to sweat. I like Iowa State. They, from the jump, were in the conversation with the Dukes and Auburns and the Houstons. Florida's been the one that really jumped. Iowa State, TJ Osselberger, great coach. Iowa State, although they faltered towards the end here, I still love their senior leadership at guard. I love having guards that have experience, and I love that they can defend, but also have the ability to go on scoring bursts, as they did play as a 5 seed today in the second round of the Big East tournament and won by 20. And it's a sign of a good team is, when you're in that second round and you're early, you win by 20 against the Cincinnati today. It's not like they struggled. Like, they just beat the crap out of them. St. John's, too much of an unknown. Can't shoot well enough. Michigan State can't shoot well enough. Tennessee can't score. Don't trust Bama. It's Iowa State all the way. Joshy, basketball strikes again.
Does Iowa State strike you as one of those teams that feels due?
Little bit, especially because they made it to the Sweet 16 when they beat the Badgers in Fiserv Forum locally here in Milwaukee. I also just feel like the makeup of the team,
right,
after all they've, the experience the coach has, like, they fit the mold of a team that is can be consistent enough to be in every game, but have the horses to propel you offensively. Right. Whereas Tennessee has one good scorer, and if he's not scoring, then they're just trying to win 55-52, and I'm going to pull my eyes out.
Sounds like a local team.
So St. John's is plus 400 on this list, and they're a top 10 team.
The Badgers average 80-plus points a game.
I'm saying in
years past.
It seems like if Tanjay isn't going, it's going to be a hard time for them.
I would disagree with that. I think if Tanjay were on the team that Johnny Davis was on and starred on against that Iowa State team a couple years ago, I would agree. I think there's more balance with Wisconsin than they had then.
We'll see what they look like with Klesmit back.
I want to ask you about St. John's here quick, Ben, because here we got a top 10 team, number 6 in the latest rankings, after a thrilling win over Marquette here in Milwaukee. They're plus 400 on this list.
You're buying too high.
Do they get docked a little bit because it's been a disjointed year in the Big East?
No. They're not getting docked. They're getting a lot of respect, and that's because plus 400 for St. John's really good, because when you think about what they did, the Big East wasn't down, but they're still in the likes of really formidable teams that have shown it throughout the entire season. St. John's was like, all right, they're good, they're still good, but at the end of the day, I don't trust them with their ability to not make consistent three-point shots and struggle from the free throw line. That's not a team that I want to put money on. I think the value is high because people are really. I think the value is low because people are really high on them right now.
It's been fun playing this game with you guys, but you guys are so wrong with your pick out of this tier. The answer is Michigan State. Michigan State.
They can't shoot, Greg. You're relying on Jace Richardson, a freshman, to be the guy to carry you offensively.
They got size. They have got toughness. They've got physicality, and if they can have a shooting game like they did against Wisconsin, they're going to be tough as nails. And there is an Izzo factor.
They had a 28% three-point shooter go off against Wisconsin. I'm not relying on Jaden Akins to do that.
Yeah, you rely more on the Izzo factor.
That's
right?
fine. You can say that.
You rely on the Izzo factor.
But don't give me the three-point shooting then.
And now, let's go through what has happened to Michigan State throughout the course of the season. One loss early in the year against number 1 Kansas. That was very early in the season. That was in November, early November. They lose to Memphis. That is a team going to the tournament and likely going to win their conference tournament. They had back-to-back losses in Big Ten play at USC and at UCLA. You could almost predict losses when you have to go out to California for that long a period of time. They had a little hiccup loss, but a one-score game against Indiana. They've won 9 of their last 10, and in that stretch, they beat then 13th-ranked Purdue, then 12th-ranked Michigan, 16th-ranked Maryland, 11th-ranked Wisconsin, Michigan again, ranked number 17 at the time.
What does it tell you, though, Greg?
This
the
team is
best
hot.
team in the Big Ten is plus 400 amongst all the other teams.
I'm a little surprised. That's why I find value in it. You could have this at plus 300.
I think it just speaks to the averageness of the Big Ten.
What conference is elite aside of the SEC? And is the SEC even that elite?
Yes, it is. Their teams are really good, and they proved that in the preseason, which is why they're going to have 10 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, cute story with Tennessee, but one-dimensional to me.
Duke's at a horrible conference, but they still deserve, based off the talent on the team. You know, like we're comparing two of the best teams in two different conferences. One of them's plus 400 to make the Final Four. One of them is minus 167. The best, the odds-on favorite to make the Final Four at minus 167. So when you have a team that talented in a bad conference and with that much talent and that much skill, they're just on two different planets, and that tells me why I'm staying away from Michigan State.
Well, there's money going Duke's way, too. I'd be curious to see how much money goes on Michigan State. I think they're kind of a quiet team coming into the tournament here, and there's no reason for them to be a quiet team going into the tournament. It's been a fantastic season for a program that I despise. Let me be perfectly candid.
I don't.
But removing the emotion, plus 400, I like Michigan State out of that group. All right,
respect the hell out of them.
I like Michigan State. Joshy, you like Iowa State. Ben likes Iowa State.
Joshy and Ben versus Greg. I like where this is going.
Let's go to, it's you and me versus Joshy in the first one here with riding Auburn.
Yeah, but I liked that Joshy went with Florida. If he was going to go with any of the other two options, he went with the right one.
Well, you make up your mind. All right. Next group of teams here. Pick one. We got a range, plus 600 to plus 1,100. I get it. These are borderline long shots here to reach the Final Four. But nonetheless, you're looking at Texas Tech plus 600, Maryland plus 800, Kentucky plus 900, Texas A&M plus 1,000, and Arizona plus 1,100. I threw them in there because it's Arizona. It's a program that's been there before. I get it. We're starting to get down the rope a little bit. But can you find and identify a team, Joshy, that you like out of this group as your odds-on favorite to reach the Final Four?
I think if you're going to make any decisions here, it would probably be a Maryland or a Kentucky team. And I'm basing that off of the old Ken Palm formula about the national champions being top 40 offense, top 25 defense. Both teams that are consistent and probably are better than you would think. I think Maryland, we just spent time on the Big Ten, and Kentucky is one of those teams where there's just talent. You never know who's going to show up for them. Those are the two I would go with. If you had made me pick, I'd go Maryland just because it's shorter odds there by 100.
This one has been a little bit of a tizzy here. I'm fading Arizona. Tommy Lloyd has not been able to prove that he can win in the tournament yet. He just hasn't done it, so I'm going to go with the Greg Matzik theory as it pertains to that. Is Texas Tech in this group, or is that the last group?
Texas Tech is in this group, and they are a top 10 team.
I mean, Texas Tech is number 7 in Ken Palm right now, and when you look at where they're going to be from a seed perspective, you're going to get Texas Tech at likely a 2 seed, and you get a 2 seed playing as well as they are, 2 or 3 seed at plus 600. Like that's where I'm going to go right now, because the other seeds in this group might be 4s, it might be 5s, and you just don't know. Like Arizona could be a 4 seed, and they could draw Auburn or Duke, and I'm just wasting money right now.
Kiss it goodbye.
Hey, Texas Tech has a couple of peculiar losses on their schedule, albeit in very close games. They lost to St. Joseph's earlier this year. That was a home game, 78-77. But again, you're talking about November basketball. I don't put too much stock into that.
On January 1st, they were 18th in Ken Palm. Currently today, they're 7th in the country in Ken Palm. So you'll see those early losses, but then you'll see how great they became throughout the season.
They tend to go away. They did also lose to Central Florida. That was a home game, 87-83. But they have nice wins on the ledger, too, including a win at Houston, who was ranked 6th in the rankings at the time. They lost to Houston later in the year, 69-61. But wins against Kansas, Colorado, and Arizona State to round out conference play. And they'll get started here in their tournament tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I like Texas Tech. There's nothing really sexy or pretty about the way they play basketball. I was kind of looking at Texas A&M with Buzz Williams. They're as goofy a team to watch as their coach is goofy. They're a product of their coach. It was a little all over the place, a little scattered, sometimes very much dialed in. I never know what I'm going to get watching Texas A&M, but they're certainly talented. I do not trust Kentucky. That is a big name. There's going to be a lot of money because of how Kentuckians view their squad. I do not ride Kentucky in this mix, and I don't believe in Arizona. It's kind of feeling like default. But I lean towards Texas Tech, and not because they have the best number here at plus 600. I just think they're the most believable team out of this group.
Yeah, I'd argue for Kentucky. I think Mark Pope's a really good coach, and they have a lot of different versatile scorers. The way he plays, they have a bunch of guys who can shoot, and they did get beat up a little bit more than I expected them to in the SEC. But if they grow from the battle-tested SEC, again, it just scares me. I like Texas Tech seed versus Kentucky ending up in that 4 or 5 spot.
All right, 2-on-1 again. It's Ben and Greg against Josh here, who likes Maryland. When we come back, the random long shot out of this group. I've compiled a list of teams. We'll see if we can find a random long shot. Keep in mind, Loyola Chicago reached the Final Four in 2018. That's right, Loyola of Chicago. It can be done with a long shot. George Mason has reached the Final Four. More after this.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Multiple sclerosis is an unpredictable, often disabling disease of the central nervous system. There is currently no cure for MS. Symptoms vary from person to person, and MS does not discriminate, as anyone can be diagnosed. An estimated 1 million people in the United States live with MS, with more than 20,000 right here in Wisconsin. The National MS Society funds cutting-edge research, drives change through advocacy, and provides programs and services to help people affected by MS live their best lives. Connect with nationalmssociety.org to learn more.
Junior Achievement of Wisconsin has had business technology from James Imaging Systems for several years. Lori Salzman, Vice President of Enterprise Services, explains why.
We started with the document imaging, and I have to say that the service and support has been fantastic.
James Imaging Systems, a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed business technology company.
I've never met an organization that is so responsive to make sure that we are up and running all the time for us to be more efficient and allow us to focus more on the work that we do for helping young people.
Lori, what's your recommendation to others that aren't getting that kind of attention from their business technology company?
Please call James Imaging, because they will work with you to make sure that you find a solution that can make you more efficient and productive.
Make the call, 262-781-7700, or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill, when your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway, and you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hey, it's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman, and you may be wondering if you are a good candidate for QC Kinetics. If you're having pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, or your back, maybe having trouble sleeping or doing the things that you love doing, then yes, you could be a great candidate for QC Kinetics and the regenerative medicine. I know when I went to QC Kinetics and saw everything they have with my own 2 eyes, I was blown away at the tools in their toolkit to make sure that you get your life back. PRP, platelets, plasma, and they have so much they can do to give you your life back. From all the testimonials I've heard and from what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, it is unbelievable to see the before and after impact of QC Kinetics and their regenerative medicine. So don't wait any longer. Finally, get your life back as spring is unfolding. Get your free consultation today with QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. 3474.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever. That's 4 lines on unlimited welcome for just $25 a line per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. You'll also get the new iPhone 16 Pro, 4 of them for the entire family when you trade in up to 4 phones from our top brands. That's a new phone for everyone, only on the network you can count on. Verizon. Visit a store today. 20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Trying to rule the world here on the Weekly Wager. It's Greg Matzik, Josh DiMaggio, Ben Brust with you from the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. By the way, if you're looking to watch some of the college basketball action throughout the month of March and into April, make sure to connect with Potawatomi Sportsbook. Get your reservations made. Book the VIP deck, the food, the service, the drinks. I mean, it's going to be the place to be. Morning, noon, and night, because the games start before 11 o'clock or right around 11 o'clock, so you want to be here before that, and they'll run all the way up until 11 at night, roughly. So, kind of the best days here of the tournament. When you were playing, Ben, did you still get to enjoy the tournament? You know what I mean? 'Cause you guys were making a deep run, but when you were home, you were after a game, like, could you soak it in the way that you wanted to soak in the other games?
No.
You're totally removed from it?
Totally removed. No idea what was going on other than paying attention to who you might play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what went on in any other bracket the year that we went to the Final Four. It's a mystery.
It is also
We'll never know.
bit of a mystery.
The only, like, you remember, so the thing that I do remember is when we played Kentucky in the Final Four, I did know that they won in the Sweet 16 and won in the Elite Eight down in Indianapolis at the whatever the Lucas Oil Bankers Light, whatever the football arena is. I don't know what the naming is.
Stadium.
Well, I don't know what the naming rights are anymore, but where the Colts play is where I was like, oh, wow, they're playing in a football field. Like, that's interesting for a Sweet 16 game. Is we were at the Honda Center in Anaheim, and Aaron Harrison, who ended up hitting the only 3 for Kentucky, which ended up beating us, hit a 3 from the exact same spot, and I saw highlights against Michigan and I believe Kentucky. Well, he was part of Kentucky. I forget who they beat in the Sweet 16. Same shot, same spot. But, like, again, I very little recollection.
Was that Notre Dame? Was it the next year they beat Notre Dame?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I kind of forgot myself. Meanwhile, speaking of strange, it is very strange to watch Cal take on Stanford in the ACC tournament. Nothing makes sense about this. The Atlantic Coast Conference tournament featuring Cal and Stanford.
It seems like the smattering of fans in the arena also find it strange.
That just doesn't
Not
make
great
a lot
attendance.
Of sense. ACC tournament, historically, when I was growing up, that was the tournament you wanted to watch. We used to take school off to do that.
I do remember that court, it was like purple and green.
Yeah, in Greensboro.
Yeah.
Watching Vince Carter dunk all over the place, and it's just crazy.
It's a little old.
Fair enough, Ben. All right, random long shot. So here's what we've done. We are picking among the elite, maybe the second and third tier. Now we're going to the random long shot team. Again, this is trying to identify a team that might have an opportunity. And again, the brackets will help determine the path here, but an opportunity to reach the Final Four. These numbers could shift a little bit once the brackets are actually revealed. So I picked 5 teams. I handpicked 5 teams with odds of plus 1,500 or greater to reach the Final Four. Can we pick out a team out of this mix that maybe has the best shot? So here we go. Missouri, plus 1,500. Purdue, plus 1,800. Creighton, plus 2,200. Oregon, plus 3,500. And Loyola of Chicago, plus 25,000. Why did I pick them? Ben, you laugh? Because they did it in 2018. It's supposed to be tricky.
Again, I know it's supposed to be tricky, but I'm chalky. I mean, by nature, I'm going to go with Missouri. They've shown me the most. I think Purdue is flawed. I think Oregon is talented. I would, like, from a value play, I'd go Oregon because Dana Altman has done it, and they've been playing their best basketball in the second half of the Big Ten season. Actually started when they beat Wisconsin locally here when they came back in the second half, and they've continued to play well. They're ranked in the top 25 for the first time since the beginning of the year. Oregon would be my longer odds. Otherwise, I'd go Missouri, who actually has a team that's capable with talent to get to the Final Four.
Joshua, where are you at?
I'm going to follow Ben on this one because when we're getting this far, I got no idea what's going on here. I'm not studying Missouri's or some of these longer shots. The team I do like, and I don't know if it's because I've watched them, and obviously they're
Say
top
who
10.
I'm looking at.
Clemson at plus 14 at plus 1400. It's not quite within. What
Are you getting
told
lured
us.
in because they beat Duke earlier this year?
Yes, and I've watched them play probably 3 or 4 times. Strangely, for some reason, I don't know why. But that seems like where if I were to even venture this far, because it feels like we're. I mean, that's what you're doing. That's by design. We're taking stabs in the dark here, but I'm gonna just tail Ben on this one.
I do like Mick Cronin. I think UCLA is an intriguing team. They defend. They have a big guy that came to fruition. His last name's Mara. His first name's confusing. And he's very, very good. He's 7'3" with a massive wingspan. And the way they defend keeps him in every game. And they've gotten to the Final Four with Mick Cronin as a higher seed. When I say higher, I mean lower. When you're not number one.
Were they better ranked or were they worse ranked than they are now?
Is this like the NFL draft conversation we're going to have? Yes, it is. Here it is. I'll find it. UCLA was an 11 seed. They were a play-in team, the Jaime Jaquez year, that they went to
They
the
were a
Final Four.
higher seed.
They were a higher seed. They're going to be a higher-ish seed again for Mick Cronin, and so I wouldn't count him out.
How much does coaching matter in your experience, Ben, as you look at teams and line them up? And the only reason I bring it up is I'm not a huge believer in Creighton overall. I am a believer in Coach McDermott. I think he's an outstanding coach. Creighton, by the way, had a chance to go to the Final Four a couple of years ago. They lost to San Diego State in a rock fight of a game.
Not as good.
They're not, but does coaching, is there an edge with coaching when you get into tournament season?
You ready for this? Let's go from 2019 on. Tony Bennett won the championship. Chris Beards at Mississippi turned that program around. Bruce Pearl, Auburn, in the mix. Tom Izzo. Scott Drew, well-respected at Baylor, awesome coach. Mark Few, Gonzaga. Kelvin Sampson, Houston, still there. Mick Cronin. Bill Self. Coach K. Jay Wright. Dan Hurley. Brian Dutcher, who is at San Diego State, was able to do that in a good way. Larinaga was his first time there, but he was a good coach. Dusty May, now coach of Michigan. Matt Painter, Nate Oates, Dan Hurley.
I think he's telling you coaching matters.
Yeah.
If I were to catch a hint.
Those, everyone knows those names if you've even followed college basketball just a tad.
I feel like Tom Izzo's the shining example of coaching mattering. And it's not like he doesn't have plenty of talent there at Michigan State, but they rear their heads in ways no one really expects, and now it's happened so often, we just factor it in.
Speaking of
could
weird,
it happen?
Did you know that a college baseball game could be 29-1 and end in the 7th?
I believe they are only 7-inning games. Is that correct?
I don't think so. I said final with -7, which is telling me it's not just final through 9.
That seems
I swear
a
to
tad
God.
ask
Do
you.
they have a slaughter rule?
I think they do.
Maybe they do. Right. Well, in softball, it's like 15 after 4 innings, right? 15 runs after 4 innings, and it's called the thing. I'm sure the softball rules in Wisconsin very much apply to what happens at the NCAA level.
In most cases, college.
The game can be stopped after the 7th inning if one team leads by 10 or more runs.
Well,
now there you go.
29-1 will do it.
All right, thanks, Chris Larson. You mentioned Matt Painter. Purdue's had a wild ride in the tournament the last couple of years. They lose to a number 16 seed, and then they make a run with virtually the same sort of team, right? Mm-hmm. So they're kind of a complex team, but no more Zach Edey. They have played their worst at the worst time of the year to play your worst. Purdue. They're just kind of falling apart here. So out of the group, I do think Oregon has surged a little bit. Loyola Chicago, just kind of a fun team to include there. Take your pick. Missouri made me a bit of a believer when they beat Alabama very soundly on the home floor. I don't know if I can buy them long term. I lean to the coaching of Doug McDermott out of this group. Again, this is out of this group where in a one game, and then they got to do it again a couple of days later, feels like a guy who knows how to get things done and get it done quickly. So I'm going to lead Creighton out of this group that I selected. And if you want to add UCLA, Clemson, go ahead. Can you make it official, Josh? Who are you taking?
If you're allowing me, I'm going to go.
I'll allow you to.
Clemson.
And what are their odds here? They're
plus 1,400 to make the Final Four.
That fits. That fits.
Give me Mick. I'm a Mick guy.
Mick Cronin, what's UCLA?
Plus 2,200.
Plus 2,200. Does that qualify as a long shot? Does plus 2,200 qualify as a long shot?
You literally picked Creighton at plus 2,200.
I know, but does that qualify? In your bets, if you're calling him a long
these are
shot.
to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yes.
These aren't to win the whole thing.
No, they are not.
Where do you draw your long shot cutoff? Because to me, that's like plus 600 and up is probably what you would
Okay.
consider.
In this instance, I did plus 1,500.
Yeah.
In this instance, as I look at the teams,
'Cause there's enough high
probably
majors.
stop at Texas Tech at plus 600.
Hey, we're right on.
Anything beyond that's a long shot?
Anything else, you're risking more based off the quality of team.
All right. It has been said. It is done. This is our group. We'll see how they do. Best bets coming up before the end of the show. We want to get you on board to bet with us or fade us or ride with us. Whatever you want to do here, keep in mind we've got a prize for you. We'll get those details to you later in the program. Coming up next, NFL Draft Futures. It is on the horizon here. We're about 43 days and change away from the NFL Draft beginning. Of course, the free agent period, league year, officially underway as of 3 o'clock. Aaron Rodgers still needs a team. He is a free agent for the first time. What will the draft yield in terms of futures? We explore after this.
We're back talking bets after this on the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group. I have a question for you business owners. How do your books look? Are they ready for your tax return to be prepared? Did you and your accountant talk during the year and develop a plan to minimize your tax bill? Or does this sound like you? You can never get a hold of your CPA. Phone calls are not returned and questions are never answered. Your books are a mess and the bank account hasn't been reconciled since last year. You don't get any advice to help you run your business. That's not the case with the Neal Group. We are advocates and partners with our clients to help them grow. We like to work with you throughout the year to keep your books up to date so you run your business profitably. Are you ready to grow your business, improve cash flow, have less stress, and live a better life? We can help. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net to book a meeting and see if we can help. The first meeting is free. Don't wait. Do it now. That's 414-325-2040 or nealgroup.net.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Kyle Walsh for Universal Windows Direct. Tax season is here, and what better way to reinvest in your home than with brand new energy-efficient windows? During Universal Windows Direct tax time sale, you can save big now. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and there's no limit. Need 4? You only pay for 2. And here's something that will make your wallet even happier. Pay no interest until 2030. Schedule your free in-home estimate or visit universalwindowsdirect.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Want to know where the snow is? Snow River Mountain Resort in Michigan's UP is buried in it. Over 125 inches of pure natural powder this season alone. Skip the airport hassle and head to the UP's only resort with high-speed lifts. We're talking deep snow, 0 crowds, and a season that stretches well into April. Why fly south when winter's best-kept secret is right here in your backyard? Make this spring break legendary at Snow River Mountain Resort. Snow River Mountain Resort, where the snow stays longer and the lines move faster. Visit snowriver.com to book now.
Save big money right now at Menards, your lighting headquarters. Find the perfect lighting for your home with new selectable color temperature True Wave LED bulbs from Sylvania. Simply adjust the color temperature to change the lighting in a snap. Receive $10 instant savings on a qualifying purchase of $40 or more on True Wave LED bulbs now through March 16th. Plus, don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
For general contest rules, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Hey Bucks fans, enjoy Michelob Ultra at Johnny's Poorhouse, Pleasant Prairie, Maxwell's in Cedarburg, Who's on 3rd Milwaukee, Romine's High Pockets Milwaukee, and Camp Bar Wauwatosa. Michelob Ultra, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right now, more than 100,000 children waiting in foster care need our help. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is focused on finding them safe, permanent homes. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
You're listening to the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Weekly Wager rolls on from Potawatomi Sportsbook. Greg Matzik, Ben Brust, Josh DiMaggio with you, and we're hurtling toward tournament time here, and this is the place to be. I can't imagine a better place to watch the tournament than a Potawatomi Sportsbook, because the beauty of the tournament is games
Don't have to
overlapping.
imagine. We're here, Greg.
Right. I mean, multiple games going on at the same time, overlap of games, and you're kind of clicking back and forth, and that gets annoying at home. Well, you don't have to worry about that here. I can assure you. The games will be on at Potawatomi Sportsbook on that 2,000 square foot video wall. So reserve your spots, get your spots secured here at Potawatomi Sportsbook, and enjoy the tournament. And no better time of year, and coming up on the first anniversary of the Sportsbook as well. So this will be the place to be, no doubt. NFL Draft is on the horizon here, a little over a month away, and of course, all eyes on Green Bay for that event. We'll be up there with all sorts of programming throughout the course of 3 days or so. We're starting to dial in some futures bets on the NFL Draft. Josh, I know you've been looking at this. The numbers are starting to get dialed in. Again, we expect quarterbacks to go somewhat early and often, but it's not being regarded as the deepest of all drafts, which could bring a little bit of intrigue, I think, to where players are taken.
Yeah, there's a few things, a few signs we can see already with the draft still as far out as it is. Like the first overall pick, minus 400 for Cam Ward, I would lock that in. I think that's even good value for how certain that number is at this point, because it's either going to be the Titans or the Giants are going to trade up for Cam Ward. He is locked and stocked to me. That is a no-brainer. The interesting part comes in with some of these other positions, some of these less talked about positions. The one I have circled with a big red, and I'm going to be putting money on it, is the first wide receiver drafted. This is an extremely weak wide receiver class, and the guys who tested didn't impress in a way that people expected, and there's one guy who hasn't tested yet at all, and that's Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. He has the size, and he's expected to run in like the mid to low 4.3s, which is going to be faster than a lot.
That fast?
Yes.
Damn.
He
He's
ran
gonna help himself big time.
He ran a low 4.4. I think it was 4.42 in high school, and obviously, as you know, after you hit Ohio State's programming, you are going to improve a lot.
So he's got a pro day coming up. He'll run at that, and likely his draft stock will be buoyed.
Correct.
So get in on this early.
Plus 600 is the value now. Now you are
plus
taking
600 for what again?
For him to be the first wide receiver
taken.
drafted.
Okay. Yep.
The McMillan from Arizona was very disappointing, and it seems to be all signs are pointing to the NFL not liking him as much as some people on the internet do at this point. There's people you should trust when it comes to mock drafts, and those are usually your Mel Kipers, your Daniel Jeremiahs, because those guys are in NFL circles. A lot of the other stuff you see is just people with opinions and kind of taking their stab at what they would do. There are probably 4 or 5 people that you should really pay attention to.
Josh DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just relating what they have, so I'm just doing it worse than what they would do, because I'm not in NFL circles as much as I'd like to be.
Well, I have sources, Josh, so you can use me.
So plus 600 for Emeka Egbuka, who will run that pro day on March 26th, and I do not believe that March 27th, that number is going to be plus 600 because of his ability there. And the last one I really like is the first O-lineman drafted. Right now, Will Campbell is the leader of that, and I don't think the market has corrected to how the league feels about him. He tested and had short arms, as we know. Our colleague Brian Bulaga also had that same thing about him.
Yeah, so did Tausch.
Suited him well.
The first round draft pick, Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, small hands too.
But there was a fella named Armand Membau who
Smelled like
came in and
cabbage.
impressed. He is plus 110. I think those odds should probably be flipped for those two players because of how impressive his testing was and how impressive he was just as a tackle in the league. you can look at first non-QB, but that's all the way down to minus 670.
Sorry, I don't want to stop you from going here, Joshy, but I got to know the type of urgency I got. So we were here at Potawatomi Casino Hotel before the big game, and Joshy DiMaggio, and I had this click happen in my brain the same way you talked about Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts to be the longest rusher in the Super Bowl. Plus 600.
I'm more confident about this one than I was about that.
And I heard it in your voice, and I want to run to the machine.
So, yeah, there's still a lot to be here. He could come out, and it could be not impressive.
It's all about his pro day.
Yes.
Right? So this boils down to me. This boils down to his pro day.
Yep.
And his ability to throw a lightning 40 time on the turf.
So
right? And if he chooses not to run, or maybe he's got a hamstring strain, okay, now you got a little guesswork there. You're trying to project what he could be.
Yeah, he'll run. I don't, unless something pops up in his training in the lead up to his pro day. But you get friendlier testing. Sometimes some of these places don't even do laser testing.
Everybody wants to run at home.
And those numbers become more friendly. So I do think that it's an unknown, but what makes it an advantage for us, if we were to approach this as a bet, is that unknown. I think works in our favor versus works in the book's favor. I think if he comes out because these guys, just Matthew Golden, like people don't. Usually when it comes to draft time and first round wide receivers, everybody knows about 3-4 names. I mean, I don't even know how to pronounce McMillan's first name. And that's how low he's viewed. He is massive, but he wasn't fast. He didn't test well. Matthew Golden did test pretty well. He was fast, but he doesn't have the production profile, nor does he have the size that a guy like Emeka Ibuka will have. So those things matter a lot when people are looking at wide receiver in the first round especially.
I like what you've done here.
We typically call this segment the best of the rest, correct?
Typically, yeah.
Today, can I make it the best of the rest outside of the NFL draft?
If you'd like.
I've got some too after you.
I sat in the office of one Greg Scalzo, who Josh DiMaggio and I did a show with once upon a time.
Was he planning your bachelor party?
He was not. Frank Kaminsky is still doing all of that for Greg Scalzo. Now, this is a biased bet.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Oh boy.
The Boston Red Sox plus 325 at Potawatomi Sportsbook to win the AL East. He's talking about Devers and Duran and Bueller and all these ways that there is value. And he goes, he handed me the cash and he goes, "That's a great bet." And so it'd be wrong of me
it's a backyard bet is what it is. It's a backyard bet.
All I'm saying is this isn't a best bet. It'd be wrong of me for the best man at my wedding to say he's in on the Red Sox plus 325 to win the AL East and me not join in. So I will be on the Boston Red Sox. Go Red Sox. Don't really like the Yankees anyway. Garrett Cole out for the year.
So division winning bet. Is that
AL
what it is?
East division winner plus 325.
And what are the Yankees in that world?
Plus 160.
Ooh, okay. That's
the Cubs
tough.
have
That's a
better
tough team
odds to
unseat.
win the division in the NL Central than the Yankees do in this competitive AL East.
So Scalzo was cool just giving you money to take a dump on.
Well, I mean,
This ain't happening.
I
This
give
ain't happening.
What if you
Greg, your track record right now in best bets gives me a little bit of hesitation to say we're dumping on anything other than your best
Wait, who
bets.
won last week? Pretty sure I won last week. Oh, yeah, I did.
Before that,
Check
I
the
was
standings.
fading you and winning money on your college basketball.
That's your own problem.
If we get over your guys' little disagreement here, what would it take for you to just be the book in this situation?
At least I'm making best bets, by the way.
What would it take for me to be the book?
Right. Because you got a chance here at just some free cash. I think you got a pretty good chance at some free cash.
Do you know what the funny thing is, Josh? I'm going down to the ATM and I'm joining him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, did you guys know that there's a major championship this weekend?
The Players' Championship. Yeah, it's a big deal.
I love golf betting. It's one of my favorite things to bet on.
New hobby that I know of, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've golfed for a while. I'm getting more and more into it.
Cool.
But betting on golf is so fun because you can bet every day. You can bet strokes. You can bet birdies. You can bet all sorts of fun stuff.
Front nine, back nine. You can do a zillion things.
Oh, yes.
Matchups.
And they're like golf betting is more popular probably than we give credence to here. We're not Gabe Neitzel. We aren't studying it as much.
I am a part of our teammate Nolan Murphy's fantasy golf thing.
Cool.
Right?
Perfect.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yep. So there are a few numbers. We are at TPC Sawgrass. And this is a course where you need to be accurate and you need to have good long irons. There's a few players and a few numbers here worth mentioning. Obviously, we got our guys at the top, the Colin Morikawas, the Scotty Schefflers. Those aren't as exciting to talk about. There are a few names I want to drop here and give you some reasons why. Shane Lowry, he has an elite history in Florida, just in Florida courses as a whole. He's an elite iron player, and he has 3 top 20 finishes at his last 4 events. So you can bet to win, or like I like to do, is parlay a few of these and do some top 10s or top 20s, because I'm going to name a guy here, Nick Taylor. He's plus 12,000. He's had an elite year with his irons as well. 3.9 strokes gained on approaches in 5 of his last 6 events. If you want to just bet him top 10, you can get him at plus 800. And then Aaron Ray, he's also very accurate and good iron player off the tee. He recently won the Wyndham. He's coming off a T11 and T4 in his last 2 starts. Give
me your pick to win.
My pick to win would be probably Lowry, if I had to make one, or Sepp Straka. Sepp has also been really good. He has a good history at this specific course.
Everyone's all over him, so his odds are a little lower.
They are. I think it's just based on history and his success. And there are courses that play better to other people. As we remember, they had to de-Tigerfy Augusta. They basically made special accommodations for him, and Sepp is by no means Tiger Woods, but he just has a good history, and he's one of the picks that would make sense here. So I like, if I'm taking a super long shot, it's Nick Taylor, and other than that, I'm looking at Lowry or Straka, and if you want to believe for once that Justin Thomas comes back, I wouldn't hate you for that one either.
Fair enough. I like it. All right, we need to get you set up for best bets here. It's going to be kind of slim pickings here if you want to go to the immediate gratification route with college basketball really in view tonight. Of course, the NBA going on as well, but that's about it. We'll set you up here. And if you'd like to play along with us, you can do it. 800-990-3776, the Carbolus Talk and Text line. Less is more. We need a contestant who will fade our best bets and someone who will ride with us. And we got a prize for you if you win. It's that simple. 800-990-3776. Our best bets after this.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
Made by me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
It seems that Russell Wilson is the forgotten quarterback when it comes to all the quarterback dominoes that have either happened or are going to happen as far as NFL offseason / free agency is going to be concerned. Yeah, we know Sam Darnold. He got a lot of the attention. He was the biggest free agent prize out there. He signed the Seattle Seahawks. We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. Maybe the Minnesota Vikings will call him because that's what he wants, but it seems more than likely he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler replacing Russell Wilson, who didn't want to be replaced, but that's going to be the case. If Pittsburgh really wanted him, they would have said, let's sign Russell Wilson and let Justin Fields walk. He has become the forgotten quarterback in this whole quarterback domino exercise. And Russell Wilson, you know he believes he has much, much more to give than what we saw at the end of last season involving the Pittsburgh Steelers. The problem with that is he may get a chance, but it's 2 things, a bridge quarterback or a backup quarterback, and you have to believe he does not want that. In 60 seconds, more on the line tonight between the Celtics and Oklahoma City.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is 0 risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Normally, NBA games in the regular season should not have a circle around it, but tonight's game definitely fits that description of, might have to take a look-see involving the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Boston Celtics. To me, there's plenty on the line involving both of these teams, even though it's a regular season game. If you're the Boston Celtics, you put it on Oklahoma City tonight. You let everybody know that, hey, you may talk about Oklahoma City, you may talk about Cleveland, you may talk about Denver, you may talk about the Lakers, you may talk about the Warriors, but the road to an NBA championship, you got to go through us. And we're going to make sure it's doubly difficult to do that against us. If you're Oklahoma City, this is another chance to step up in class and show that you can play and deal with the big boys and beat the big boys. They've done it before, but now they're taking on the champs in their building, meaning the Celtics building. And you know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his mates will love nothing more than to go in there and say, we're here and we're ready for you. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
You're listening to the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
The Sportsbook, it's the Weekly Wager here. Greg Matzik, Ben Brust, Josh DiMaggio. We're having a good time here. Thanks to our on-site staff as well. Haley always takes such good care of us. Great service, great everything here at Potawatomi Sportsbook. We hope to see it throughout the tournament. It's going to be the place to be. Make sure you get your spots secured for the tournament. We begin play in a little over a week. We're watching conference tournament games action happening right now, which is one of our avenues here for best bets. I'm going to start us off because I deferred my starting position last week. Thank you for agreeing. I am focusing on the Big Ten tournament here. I am not all about USC. I am intrigued by the talent ability of Rutgers. Mm-hmm. Rutgers is a 1-point dog according to our line here at Potawatomi Sportsbook. So USC is favored by 1 point in this matchup. Rutgers has legit lottery talent. We talked about the youth with Duke, but their talent level is undeniable. You could argue something similar for Rutgers, but their season win total just hasn't really matched up. They are talented, and they will have lottery picks as early as this year's draft. Rutgers has also covered the spread in 4 of their last 5 games. USC has failed to cover in 6 of their last 7. And surprisingly to me, they are favored in this matchup, which is being played in the Midwest. A little bit easier of a trip for Rutgers. I'm going to go with the Scarlet Knights. They are 1-point underdogs against USC in the final game of tonight's Big Ten tournament.
I'll go next. I got a look-ahead line, so this will come out right away for you at Potawatomi Casino Hotel for tomorrow. 11 a.m., Indiana has won 4 of the last 5. Oregon has won 5 of their last 5. I think Mike Woodson got a little ahead of himself and saying, maybe I should be the coach here a little bit longer. Comes to an end tomorrow. Oregon is going to be -1.5. They're more talented. They're deeper. Dana Altman's a much better coach. Give me Oregon at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Are they kind of a sneaky team here come tournament time, too? I mentioned their odds plus 3,500.
I do want to see if they're capable of putting another run together after, like, it's hard, you know, when you didn't have a great start to Big Ten season in your first year in that massive Big Ten with obviously more than 10 Big Ten teams. They played well. Their schedule is favorable. But can they beat Indiana 2 weeks ago? To me, this is me putting on the line that I believe they're better than Indiana, and they're going to hopefully prove that they're good enough to string more quality wins together because Indiana is playing well as well. I just trust in Dana Altman, and Nate Biddle he's got a bad bald spot. It's a tough look, but he is damn good.
Kind of like a Pitsnoggle. Remember Kevin Pitsnoggle?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of Pitsnoggle going on there.
30-plus the other day against Washington.
Impressive. Joshua, what do you like?
I'm going to give one here that is an NBA pick, going a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm going to go Utah Jazz plus 12.5.
All right, this is so out of the comfort zone that I need the info.
Memphis is missing Jaren Jackson Jr. Several bench players are also out for them. Edey is questionable. He kind of feels like one of those big guys that's just always going to be in some form of hurt.
Almost like the Greg Oden.
Yeah, it's some form of hurt, injured, playing hurt. And Memphis allows 116.8 points per game. Utah has covered 18 of 15 on the road. I just think 12.5, that number, missing Jaren Jackson, an important player for them. And playing a little banged up, I like the Utah Jazz plus 12.5. I do like the Miami Heat too, but I'm not going to pick them because I like to, at least if you're listening, you get to make the bet because they start right at 7 sharp.
This feels very out there for you.
Yes, it is, very much so. I mean, I was peeling back the board, looking at lots of stuff. I was trying to see if I could even get a player prop into this. It is... To me, the board is pretty weak. Looking for the NBA is kind of where I had to go. If you made me pick something in college, I'd go Georgia moneyline over Oklahoma, and that's because they beat them once already by 10 at their house. So.
Okay. All right, so reiterate your bet here, and we'll get a caller lined up.
Utah plus 12.5.
Benny?
Oregon minus 1.5.
And I like Rutgers plus 1. They are the underdogs against USC in the Big Ten tournament to be played in the Midwest. Not an easy travel trip for USC. Call us or fade us. Ride with us if you'd like. It's 800-990-3776. 800-990-3776, the Carbless Talk and Text line. We need someone to ride with our bets and somebody to fade our bets. Got a prize for whoever wins. We are out of time in the program. Thanalysis is coming up next. We will be back again next week. And boy, it'll be a lot of NCAA tournament talk as we are really going to be knocking on the door. In fact, I think the first 4 games will be underway on the first couple of days of next week. Looking forward to that. Appreciate you for being a part of this show each and every week. For Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio, I'm Greg Matzik. Enjoy the rest of your night on ESPN Milwaukee.
That weird Wisconsin weather is here. Snow one day, sun the next. But you can always count on Tsunami